Happy Monday. Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast. What a day we have planned for you today. Look at this two-man formation. Adam Hoge, Nicholas Moreano with you as we share our final 53-man roster projections with you. We're going to go through the roster today. No nonsense, no Carm, no brags.
No Bagent song. That dude Tank there. You don't have to worry about that. We're not singing the Bagent song.
There'll be no singing on this show.
Mm-mm.
Football.
Straight to it.
I got to be honest. I was already excited with week 0 of the college football. I've already made a little money. Hit a 5-team parlay.
Did you?
Nice. Yeah. Thank you, DraftKings.
What'd you bet on? Lawrence?
The teams that won.
Okay.
That's how you make money. I think that's how that works.
Yeah.
Good job.
Notre Dame, USC, Louisiana Tech. What a sweat. Woo. La Tech. Things got weird in Ruston. And then 2 other teams. I don't know. 2 other teams.
Good for you, man. I was trying to figure out the whole point of week 0. Because I actually was kind of excited for that USC game because, you know, the best player in college football is on that team.
Pac-12 Network. Couldn't see it.
Couldn't watch it. So what are we doing here? We're having an extra week of college football. We're putting the best player who's going to get drafted number 1 overall next year not on television, basically.
That
doesn't seem like
for
a
a
strategy.
network of a conference that's about to not exist. Okay, good job.
Yeah.
The NFL, a little bit greater than college football right now in terms of how they're marketing. Anyway, we got some things to talk about right off the bat. First and foremost, these tailgates. We announced them the other day. The tailgates are back. They're better than ever. The official CHGO tailgate, absolute best in the city. And if you were with us at all last year for the tailgates, great starting point for us, I think, to get the ball rolling. And this year, it's going to be even better. We're really excited about these, and there's going to be all kinds of food, drinks from Goose Island involved, and tickets are now on sale. ALLCITY.com/events is where you go. Of course, if you're a diehard member, you get a discount to all of the events. Hopefully you got a discount if you came out to the golf outing last week, but especially for the tailgates as well. So those tickets are for sale now, and we're getting closer and closer to week 1. That's the first tailgate.
I can't wait. Cannot
be
wait,
awesome.
Adam. And like CHGO did, and like what the Bears are going to do this season, taking the next step in that tailgate experience. So you didn't get a chance to go last year. I mean, this is going to be the year to really check out that experience and just make the best event possible for Bears game day. And you got to hang out with us with the CHGO new tailgate.
And just a reminder, we're calling it the CHGO Bear Garden.
Oh, I love it.
All you can eat food from Firewater Barbecue, all you can drink from Goose Island. There's games, prizes. Head to allchgo.com. You can hit the events tab for more information. Those tailgates are going to be at the corner of Wabash and Cermak with our friends Tim Shanley and the CHGO Bears Tailgating Club, making this thing just take off to the next level. And there will be a free shuttle if you're like Wabash and Cermak. Whoa, that's not exactly next door to Soldier Field. It's still pretty close. You can walk it, but we're going to have a shuttle for you too to get you closer to the stadium. So don't worry. We thought of everything. It's going to be all set up for you, and we cannot wait and see all the CHGO diehards out there. Even if you're not a diehard, you can come, but if you are, you get a discount. And we're all going to be there. We'll all be there hanging out with you before games. It's going to be a lot of fun. The other thing we got to promote real quick off the top is top 25 Chicago athletes of all time. This is an all-city initiative that we're doing in all of our markets, and we got our brains together over the last 2 weeks. Kevin Kaduk really doing a lot of the grunt work on this behind the scenes. And all of our teams here at CHGO chip in and talk about this, and we came down with our top 25, which we're releasing slowly throughout the week. Today, 25 through 21 was released, and right there, number 25, you can see it on your screen if you're watching on YouTube. Candace Parker, who I believe should be on the list.
Absolutely.
I'm happy she made it. And then a couple Bears back-to-back. Richard Dent comes in at 24, and Dan Hampton at 23. I don't have my ballot in front of me, so I can't remember off the top of my head where I put them, but they should be on the list.
I mean, no doubt. I mean, what? That's over 210 total sacks between those two guys. If we're just looking at that, I'm just looking at, man, if they're, 23, 24, you can't wait. It's going to be really fun to see how this list kind of unveils and seeing all the great Chicago athletes and where they kind of rank on here.
Yeah, so
number one, your mean Mercedes.
Your mean Mercedes number one? See, but why wouldn't TYSON BAGENT be number one?
Oh, true. Good call.
Yeah, that's
Sing the song. Nope.
Not today. Not today,
happening.
Lords.
Also, Braggs, get the hell out of the comments right now.
Aren't you on vacation?
You are on vacation. I have counted this up. I have received a total of 10 messages between Greg Braggs and Mark Carman since they went on vacation yesterday. Stop texting. Stop slacking. Stop being in the comments. Go on vacation. Be with your wife.
Yeah.
The last text message is
Braggs.
pretty questionable from Greg, too. You see that one?
What's the last one? No, I don't want to know. Oh, yeah. He's texting pictures of bears and asking what he should do with them. Like,
What?
Think about what Greg has done to a bear before.
he's at some store in Florida,
Oh,
and they have
goodness.
like a mannequin bear. Don't need that on my Monday morning.
No.
I got more Braggs in the sands. That's pretty good, my red pillow. That's a good comment. Braggs in the sands. All right. Yes. Braggs is now saying we have a tailgate to promote. That's exactly what I was doing.
Yes.
It is possible, believe it or not, to promote that tailgate without you. Greg, you've done a great job setting this up. You will be here all next week to slam it down the throats of all of our diehards.
Everyone's going to know about it.
We are capable of doing this. All right. So make sure you check out the top 25 athletes as we continue to. There's not really much to debate on that today. I feel like we got roster projections to go through, but it's a really cool initiative that we're doing, and it's gonna be great content this week too. So we'll keep hitting that as those names are released, but all that is on allchgo.com. So of course the top news before we get into our projections, some of the cuts starting last night. PJ Walker just got it right out of the way. He is gone. They cut ties. Same thing with Alex Leatherwood. These were the two cuts that were going to cost the most money to release these guys. You signed PJ Walker to a 2-year deal, $4 million. Just didn't work out. So, you really in that case, you're going to be on the hook for this year's money regardless. Next year was not guaranteed. So you just moved on. The Alex Leatherwood experiment was kind of costly, like $4 million. You still owe them on the books, and it seemed at the time like a very risky move, but where the Bears were a year ago, you got to keep that in mind. They needed offensive line help. They took a flyer on a former first-round pick. Bad circumstances along the way. Guy gets mono, misses a lot of the last season, and it just – you know what I like, though, overall here is they're not necessarily letting money or dead cap space dictate decisions. They're just making decisions based on who's the better player.
Yep.
And both these guys just didn't do enough to make the roster.
Yeah, Adam, like you look at PJ Walker at the time of the signing, it made sense. You bring in a veteran quarterback who has a strong arm. You could see how it can work in this offense. But as the days of training camp went on, the joint practices with the Colts, the preseason games, it just wasn't working out for PJ Walker. So, yes, like Ryan Poles missed on that. but he also made up for it because he made the decision, no more. We liked what we've seen from TYSON Bagent. We like what our quarterback room is without him, and so he moved on from that move. But yes, it's nice and reassuring that the GM can, own up to it in a sense. Like you said, the most money was guaranteed with these two guys, and now the Bears are no longer a part of this Bears organization. But Poles had the necessity to make the cuts that need to be made. And for Alex Leatherwood, like last year was a young Bears team. You bring in a former first-round draft pick, seeing if he could be something of that first-round status, and it just didn't work out. You were thinking, though, right now with all the Bears' injuries on the offensive line, that he could have been a guy that maybe could have stuck on this roster. But, again, the Bears have seen enough, and that's kind of where it stands at this point.
Cornelius Pryor with a super chat, $4.99, asking, why didn't you guys have an emergency podcast for the P.J. Walker cut? That was a big deal.
I was in the middle of a fantasy football draft, but we're talking about it now.
I was making dinner and seeing my family for the first time in 4 days.
Yeah, I was at the in-laws.
Yeah.
So
I actually would have happily jumped down and done this, but that's okay.
Look, we're all about emergency podcasts. It's one of the best things we do here at CHGO. That really didn't qualify.
Yeah, cutting a backup QB, I don't really think I'm going to just leave.
Put an article out there to kind of recap the news, and
you did a good job turning that around.
Then we just
did you write that during your draft?
Yeah. So remember, my computer has a dual screens. Not this one that I have right now. So on the bottom screen, I was just working on the article. Top when I was drafting.
I am going to be very curious to check in with you in a couple months on how you're doing in that fantasy league, because I think if you're struggling, you could blame the Bears.
I took Justin Fields.
Wow.
As my quarterback.
What round?
I don't remember.
You don't remember what round?
No.
It had to have been like the first few rounds, right?
Yeah, first few. Can't tell you exactly when.
Okay.
I took him. We're going to win it.
I got to get my keeper decisions in by 10 o'clock tonight, and I think Fields will be one of them. Ooh. I think Chris Olave might be the other one, by the way.
I like that.
Yeah, Olave's going to be good.
Adam, you're going to win it this year. No more second places.
No
more.
So this will be the last fantasy talk because I know Lawrence hates this. Our
eyes glazed over already.
Our league theme this year is golf.
Oh.
So I'm naming my team Can't Win a Major.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
I thought that was pretty good. All right. So P.J. Walker is gone. That means they are going with TYSON Bagent, likely as the backup. We'll start here in a moment with our quarterbacks, but you would imagine that TYSON Bagent has won this backup job unless there's a surprise with them still keeping three quarterbacks. Before we get into that side of it, though, I wanted to highlight an interesting I would call it more than a rumor because of the source here, but Brad Spielberger, who's been on this podcast multiple times, does a really, really good job for Pro Football Focus and is well connected, understands the cap side of things really, really well. He's a smart guy, and he put out an article with some surprise trade candidates and surprise cut candidates. And included in the surprise trade candidates, wide receiver Darnell Mooney. I was very surprised to see this, but I guess that's why it would be a surprise trade candidate. So let's not overreact. It's in that category for a reason. We know Brad well enough that he would not put something out like this unless there was something behind it. And so me kind of putting my reporter football hat on here, seeing Darnell Mooney's name come up this week. What could that mean? Okay. Cole Kmet got his extension earlier in camp. Jalen Johnson and Darnell Mooney have not. But I still feel like both players are in the category of guys I would think the Bears would want to extend. Mooney, as we've said all along, it's complicated. He's coming off the injury. Obviously, the last year wasn't a great year. We started the year talking about, is he a number one? Is he not a number one? And it just didn't go well. He really did seem to be hitting his stride, though, before the injury occurred. But now there's that medical component. I think he's looked pretty good in camp from a health standpoint, which is a good sign. But I'm just wondering if there's been some conversations behind the scenes here about a contract extension, and they're just not on the same page.
Yeah, no, it could definitely be a possibility there, Adam. And, when you bring in a guy like DJ Moore, obviously he is the number one. There is no debate now. And for Darnell Mooney, this is a guy that is supposed to be in the equation of helping Justin Fields become the best version of himself in 2023. So it would, for me, be surprising if the Bears were to, maybe move on from him if, things go that way, because of how much weight is being put on Justin Fields to take the next step as a passer this season. But yeah, I think there's just a lot of different variables when it comes to Darnell Mooney, and I think we've seen a lot of the big plays in training camp too. They've gone to DJ Moore. Let's be honest, a majority of them have gone to DJ Moore, and Darnell Mooney was that guy for Fields in his rookie season. Now it's not that way as it was a couple years ago.
And look, this is I think a lot of times this time of year, you just sort of add up the circumstances, right? By the way, Evan chiming in here, $9.99 super chat. We appreciate it, Evan. If we're trading Mooney for a guy like Chase Young, I would do it in a heartbeat. Too bad, huh?
To be honest, TBH.
Oh, is that to be honest?
Yeah.
Okay. I always thought it was too bad, huh?
No. Internet parlance. TBH, to be honest.
It's me showing my age. That's fine.
IMHO, in my honest opinion.
I knew that one.
Yep.
Yeah, same deal.
I always just do IMO.
Yes.
See, that other one, I thought that was in my humble opinion.
Oh, yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Ooh.
Could be either.
Which one is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. TTYL.
Now we're thinking about it too much. But look, ex-player going into the contract year, they're not on the same page money-wise. Surprise trade candidate, right? It's pot. And by the way, I think there's going to be some moves this week across the league. There's a Derek Barnett reportedly now has been given permission to seek a trade. That could be an interesting addition for a team like the Bears, who might still want some edge help, if that's possible. Maybe a little bit more realistic than landing Chris Jones at this point.
Yeah.
For the cost. There's going to be guys on the move this week. It would not completely shock me if the Bears are involved in some type of move. I don't think it makes any sense right now to trade Darnell Mooney. I think taking help away from Justin Fields week before the season starts, especially one of his closest
friends on the team.
There's chemistry there. The wide receiver room, just like it looked completely different once DJ Moore was added, would look completely different if Darnell Mooney suddenly wasn't there. So I don't think it happens. I think it's an interesting concept that was put out there. And, again, Brad does a good job. I think there's something behind that. It doesn't just come out of nowhere, but I would be shocked if Darnell Mooney is not on the field week 1 against the Green Bay Packers.
Same here, Adam. Then you go from DJ Moore, take out Darnell Mooney, let's say this, and then it's Chase Claypool. Can he be on the field consistently for you? Velus Jones Jr., Equanimous St. Brown, Tyler Scott. That room looks so much different without Darnell Mooney. So hopefully he stays on the team.
Jay Toasty, $1.99 super chat. Yikes, Hoge older than Carm. I am actually older than Carm in spirit.
Yes.
Maturity.
that's what that's called.
But not in years. No. Not even that close, quite frankly.
Not even that close.
All right. Should we dive into the...
I mean, do you want to get into this Isaac Siegel?
Actually, yeah.
Super
Let's do that
chat?
real quick. Then we'll hit some ads and jump into the offense. So Isaac, $5 super chat. With the trade chatter, Derek Barnett just came up, and a choice between him and Chris Jones, with Derek probably costing less. Which would you prefer? $2 more, another $2 he adds, especially with assistant GM Ian Cunningham, his ties to Philly. Yeah, there's ties to Philly, and then of course Poles' ties to Chris Jones in Kansas City. Very smart super chat. I agree with you. I think Barnett costs a lot less than Chris Jones. If I had my preference, though, if there's a world where you can add game-wrecking interior lineman that you really, really need, I would go with Chris Jones. But yes, it's costing you more than Derek Barnett would.
Yeah, and he's only 2 years older than Barnett, and I think there's still a lot of good football for Chris Jones. And just see, like, when it comes playoff time, you know who Chris Jones. You need to know where Chris Jones is on the field for the Kansas City Chiefs, because he just wrecks offensive linemen. And Derek Barnett, I think's coming to his own a little bit, but yeah, I'd have to go Chris Jones on that one, you guys. I don't care that the age difference is just 2 years, 29 and 27. Give me Chris Jones. Again, you have to look at the price and everything, but I'd take him over Barnett right now.
But it's still, though, tough because, like, the Bears are not in position. I would say Barnett would be more likely because the Bears are just not in a position right now to be just going all in. Like, Chris Jones is not the difference between the Bears winning a Super Bowl this year.
Mm-hmm.
He would be a huge help. He'd be a giant missing piece on this defense filled. But this is still about Justin Fields this year. We saw this mistake made in the last regime. They went all in on Khalil Mack, and it sure looked like it was the right move for a while until it wasn't, because you didn't have the quarterback.
You didn't know it, yeah,
and
exactly.
You assumed you did. Now, I think it's much more likely this time around they do have the quarterback, but until that's known for sure, I think it's a little reckless to just start trading away some of these assets that Ryan Poles has built up. So if we're talking, hey, Philly, you want that 4th-round pick back that you gave us to move up for Jalen Carter? For Derek Barnett? Okay.
There's a conversation there then.
Yeah, that's something that makes more sense. But if we start talking about first-round picks, multiple first-round picks,
you don't jump the gun yet.
Craziness, I just don't think that that's where this team is. And everything we've seen from Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus suggests that they understand that.
And there's a plan in place, right? There's always been a plan in place, and they're going to kind of stick to that, regardless of what opportunities come out there, unless they truly feel like this is what does take the Bears to the next step. And I don't know if they necessarily feel that way yet, but if Justin Fields has the season that we're expecting, then maybe things can change a little bit as they move down the road. No, we'll come back to some other super chats here in a little bit. I do want to dive into the 53-man roster, which we are projecting here on the show. But first, are you in the market for a new or used vehicle? Well, if you are, we got some great news for you, because Ray Chevy in Fox Lake has just joined the CHGO team. I was texting with Ray yesterday. He had his fantasy draft yesterday. Ooh. Big fantasy football guy, and he's going to be giving us some fantasy football tips throughout the season. I can use them.
Yeah, and we were talking to the team at Ray, and they have this pledge called the Ray Price Promise you also want to know about. It's a guarantee that the price you see online is the price you pay when you go into the dealership, because we found that in many cases other dealers will raise the price on you once you come into the dealership. They'll say things like, are you a recent college grad? Are you active in the military? Are you a farmer? And in most cases, the answer will be no, and then that's when the other dealers will raise the price on you, saying that the price you saw online with limited rebates, you don't qualify for those because you didn't answer yes to those questions. Well, at Ray, this is not the case. The price you see online is the price you pay, with no add-ons to the price ever. In fact, Ray will do everything possible to find additional savings for you, which may make the price lower than you see online. As one of the top-selling dealers in the Midwest, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest inventories and save big at Ray Chevy, because they now have over 100 Chevy Trax models available, starting at just $21,495. And now through August 31st, so a few days left here, all buyers can qualify for 0% financing. Make zero payments until 2024, plus put no money down, and best of all, pay zero hidden fees with the Ray Price Promise. Visit Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com, serving the community since 1963. Find new roads.
You got to check out Ray Chevrolet, and you also got to check out your AG1s, because with one scoop of your AG1s, you guys, you are absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source, superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start your day off right. What's awesome about your AG1s, costs less than a cup of coffee a day. Also helps support better sleep quality and recovery, which we all definitely need. And right now it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. Super simple. No need for a million different pills and supplements. So look out for your health. And if a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. And all you have to do is go to drinkag1.com/CHGO Bears. That's drinkag1.com/CHGO Bears. Go check it out right now.
And college football fans, are you ready for week 1?
Yes.
Law was ready for week 0.
Let's go, baby.
I was not, but you can all be ready for week 1. DraftKings at Casino Queen Sportsbook is hooking you up with a can't-miss offer to start the season strong. This week, new customers can bet just $5 on college football and score $200 in bonus bets instantly. Anything can happen in college football. Your team could go from unranked to dynasty mode in just a couple years. Change comes fast. The only thing that's a lock is the great offers from DraftKings at Casino Queen Sportsbook. Life's more fun when you're in on the action. Download the DraftKings at Casino Queen Sportsbook app now, and you're going to use that code. You know what it is, CHGO. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on college football, only on DraftKings at Casino Queen Sportsbook with code CHGO. The crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. 21 plus, Illinois only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. All right, let's dive into this offense. We are projecting the 53-man roster. Nick and I did this together. Came to some we had some big arguments, quite frankly. We don't like each other that much anymore after the last 24 hours. No. We came to consensus. Actually, it wasn't that hard.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. We had to get creative in a couple places, which we'll explain. And I think we ended up one man short on offense compared to defense. But just remember, there's the 53-man roster that's going to come out tomorrow. And then there's the 53-man roster that's going to come out Wednesday.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, the one on Wednesday is going to be more similar to what actually takes the field on week 1. But there's still going to be changes after that, too. So tomorrow is just the initial 53-man roster. We'll start with the quarterbacks, which we got some help from the Bears yesterday when they already cut P.J. Walker. So we're rolling with Justin Fields, TYSON Bagent. I'm expecting Nathan Peterman to be released and then be re-signed back to the practice squad.
Yeah, I think that's a something that is pretty likely with the Bears. And, going with TYSON, obviously, is number 2. I mean, I think that says a lot about, obviously, the Bears' confidence in him. You don't release P.J. Walker if you don't. But it's like, this is a guy that, if Justin, we've talked about this a lot, Adam. Like, if Justin Fields goes down this season, which is always a possibility with his play style, you need to have a quarterback that you have this sense of confidence in. And it is crazy to think that, maybe from the start of the summer, even before that, going back to the Senior Bowl when TYSON Bagent was with Luke Getsy there, that now, with final cutdowns about approaching, that it's going to be TYSON Bagent of all people, which is just a crazy thing to kind of think about and process. But I wonder how Bears fans you just feel about that. If Justin Fields goes down, TYSON Bagent, the undrafted rookie out of Shepherd, is now going to be the guy that could possibly take snaps in a regular season if Fields is not out there.
So I want you to think about the logic here about them being willing to roll with a rookie at quarterback of all positions. And then keep that in mind here as we get to some other positions where you're like, oh, don't they want to keep a veteran? I don't know. If they're willing to do it at quarterback, are they willing to do it at other positions? So that'll be interesting. But that's how we're looking at it with the court. I guess there's a small chance they keep Peterman on the 53, but is anyone really going to pick up Nathan Peterman if they cut him? I don't think so. I don't think he's going to want to go anywhere at this
it's a hot
point.
commodity, yeah.
So, although I guess if someone's offering you to come to the 53, you take the offer.
That's
Remember,
true. Yeah.
he won't get exposed to waivers. That's just a cut and sign situation because he's a veteran. All right. Next up, running backs. And we're going with 5, including
Kari.
By the way, don't put too much in the numbers here. I think that was just really us trying to keep track of.
My bad.
No, it's okay. I didn't want people to think that like that's the running back depth chart or anything like that. Although it kind of is, but Kari Blasingame obviously being a fullback, we're including him in the running backs. No surprises here. Khalil Herbert, Deontay Foreman, Roshan Johnson, Travis Homer for special teams, and then Blasingame being the fullback. And look, I thought there was a chance a couple weeks ago Treston Ebner could still make it, but he's been
MIA. I haven't seen Treston Ebner in like 2.5, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I thought he was actually having a decent camp over like a Travis Homer initially, but then like I just have not seen Treston Ebner anywhere.
So if healthy, I think he ends up on the practice squad. I don't think he necessarily goes anywhere, but if he's hurt, then there's a waived injured situation, and that might actually be more complicated. So don't be surprised if that's the designation when the moves get announced tomorrow. But at this point, I find it hard to believe that they would just keep him around, even just to stash him on short-term IR. That's a tricky one.
It is, yeah.
He doesn't seem like he's proven it enough to even make the 53 initially and then go on IR, which is something we should clarify. For anybody the Bears want to designate to return off injured reserve, they have to be on the 53-man roster tomorrow. So you have to use a roster spot on it. Like Tevin Jenkins, if he ends up being put on IR for just a few weeks, he has to be on the roster tomorrow, and then it'll be Wednesday that they place him on IR. So that's part of the you can do that with like 1 or 2 guys, but at some point, if you're keeping like 5 guys just to put them on IR the next day, that leaves a lot of open roster spots the next day. It gets complicated. Wide receivers. Is that what we're going next, or tight end? I don't know. Let's do wide receivers, then tight ends. And we've already had some movement here. Nick really wanted to keep Fountain. He wanted to keep the fountain flowing.
The fountain is officially dried up, and he's no longer. That was a guy that I thought made a lot of plays throughout training camp, throughout the preseason. But with the moves that the Bears have made, and
I mean, every fall they turn off Buckingham Fountain. It's got to turn that on in May and turn it off in the fall.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate. I like the fountain. Fountain was flowing throughout
Look, can
the
you
summer.
put that back up? Sorry. So, obviously, DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool not going anywhere. I think at this point we're all in agreement. Velus Jones is going to make it. Tyler Scott's not going anywhere. I think if there is a surprise cut here, it would be EQ, Equanimous St. Brown. I just feel like if one of the top 3 wide receivers goes down, and especially because Chase Claypool's been battling these injuries, it's EQ that they would trust the most to be the next guy up. And he's the one who's been out there with Chase being hurt. Tyler Scott, I don't know that you could fully trust him at this point. There's been shaky at times when he's playing receiver.
I think there was a play where it looked like, well, it wasn't supposed to be a design run for Fields in the preseason game because Tyler Scott's like this, and Darnell Mooney's looking at him. It almost looked like someone forgot to run the bubble.
Yeah.
And it's weird. I think there's just been a couple of things with Tyler Scott. He's obviously a rookie, will hopefully grow into that role as the season goes on. But, you definitely still need some veterans in that room right now.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see Fountain on the practice squad, though. I think Simba Webster ends up on the practice squad as just like depth at returner, and he's
for sure
seemingly been around forever now at this point.
He always makes it.
And then the other one I put on as practice squad candidate, and just sort of my own personal preference and what I like. I liked what I saw from Isaiah Ford.
I think it was like the joint practices where I was coming more around to like, okay, Isaiah Ford, I see what you can do out there. So, yeah, he's if there's guys that are likely to make practice squad and Ford's on there, I can see how it happened.
All right, tight end might be the easiest position to project. And I was initially worried that, like, 3 doesn't seem like a lot because you could theoretically put all 3 of these guys on the field at the same time.
True.
In, like, 13 personnel. But they only kept 3 last year. I went back and checked that. So it's not that weird for them to only have 3 tight ends. And, of course, they'll be able to stash one on the practice squad. But Cole Kmet, Robert Tonyan, Mercedes Lewis, not much to debate here.
No, not much. And honestly, kind of felt like they only had one with, Ryan Griffin, like other guys as a tight end. So it kind of felt like they only had one with Cole Kmet.
True. So that one was pretty easy. Okay, offensive line. This is where things got interesting. And we actually, to kind of finalize our 53-man, and we'll have to probably explain it more in depth once we get to the defense, but we only went with 8 here. And Doug Kramer ended up being the last cut on the entire roster. And it was kind of – well, first let's go through the guys, obviously. Braxton Jones on the team, Cody Whitehair, Lucas Patrick still there, Nate Davis, Darnell Wright, really no surprises here, Tevin Jenkins. We don't know what the plan is here with Tevin. Do they move him to injured reserve because he's going to – and that would knock him out for the first 4 games of the season? But he has to be on the roster tomorrow. Remember that. So he's included for now. Jatari Carter, Larry Borum. The question is, do they keep 9? You think, you would think they would keep 9 here because Tevin Jenkins could be moved to IR the next day, so it's really only keeping 8. The thing is, and maybe I'm wrong about this, if Lucas Patrick and Cody Whitehair are ready to go week 1, Doug Kramer's not active anyway.
No, he's not.
And I don't think anybody claims Doug Kramer. That's maybe where I could be wrong. I don't see it. And so just put him through waivers. He clears. You sign him to your practice squad, and then he's your third center option anyway.
Yeah.
And he's not taking up a roster spot.
No, yeah. So I think with Doug, too, and he did leave the game holding his right hand. Something happened to his right hand. In that game, but for me too, it's like I saw in the chat, like why are they keeping Lucas Patrick? They need a center right now, you guys. Like that's why they're keeping Lucas Patrick. And I think for Doug Kramer, he's had I would say an up and down preseason. You see the physical limitations, I think, at times, but then you see he gets the scheme, can get out in space and things like that. But yeah, that was the one that we debated as we were kind of finalizing our list here, like Doug Kramer being like our last guy and making it obviously to the practice squad.
Yep. Let's take Gary Ross's super chat here. So once again, I can shoot him down and he'll think I hate him. Love you, Gary. $4.99. Kramer has to be kept on the 53 to be short-term IR. Or waived injured, and if unclaimed, it goes on IR for a year. Not necessarily, Gary. Depends what the injury is. If he just had like a cut on his hand, he's not that injured. You can work this stuff out with the agents, what's best for the player. They can deem him healthy. If both sides are in agreement that he's healthy, he does not have to be waived injured. I don't know the extent of that injury right now. But you are correct, Gary, that that could complicate things here a little bit, but I don't think it. Yeah. And Gary's now saying he has a cast on his hand. I was told, I don't know if you saw it in the locker room, I was told by multiple people it was really just like a heavy wrap.
Yeah, I didn't see anything, so can't speculate on it.
So that's what we decided with the offensive line, and I think that put us at 24 on offense, leaving us with 26 spots on defense, which we kind of struggle with, especially because there's some injuries. And again, I'd like to stress, it's going to look different Wednesday.
Yeah.
And offensive line is a place where I could still see them sign somebody or claim somebody. definitely could see them claim somebody off of somebody else's 53. Is Larry Borum completely safe as a swing tackle?
Do they feel comfortable there? Yeah, exactly.
I would tend to think he is. He didn't play in the second half of that game.
That's true, yeah.
You bring in a different swing tackle, they got to learn everything in like a week.
There's for Larry, he has the advantage of being in this offense for now 2 years in a row. Yes, has his play signified that, yes, he's a lock on this roster? Obviously not, but still, I think there is something to that. He knows the scheme, knows the guys around him, and you're not asking him to be the starter anymore. So I think you can live with a Larry Borum being that swing tackle, and he's been more consistent than Kellen Deesh, who was waived earlier. So, yeah, I think there's obviously a spot for him.
All right, before we get to the defense, we'll take another break. I think you want to tell us about Goose Island here a little bit.
Of course. As everyone knows who watches CHGO, CHGO is supported by Goose Island Beer Company, Chicago's beer since 1988. Let's just go through this beer roster real quick, you guys. You have the Goose IPA, the 6-time medal winner at Great American Beer Fest, always in style, citrus aroma, bold hop finish. Or you go with the Tropical Beer Hug, the dry hopped Imperial IPA, 9.9% alcohol that's dangerously easy to drink. And, of course, you have Full Pocket Pills, everyday beer, what the brewers are drinking.
Just got a 12-pack at Benny's on Friday.
See, there you go. You're stocked up, ready to go, and you got to do it with Goose Island. And right now you can grab an ultra-fresh brewery-exclusive beers at Goose Island's original brew house on Clybourne Avenue in Lincoln Park, or from their tap room on Fulton Street in Westtown. Goose Island Beer Company, as you guys already know, is Chicago's beer.
And we got another new sponsor to welcome to the show. Excited about this one, especially with football season getting underway. Splash Sports is joining the party. CHGO has a weekly Pick X and NFL Survivor contest for everyone to participate for real money. How to enter. This is what you're going to do. Head to splashsports.com/CHGO and sign up. Deposit cash to get started, and it's just $10 to enter either contest. The CHGO Weekly NFL Pick X contest. Weekly now. Your first prize is $2,700. Second prize is $1,800. Third prize is $1,350. Even down the fourth prize, you get $900. All the way, if you're in the top 9, you get at least $315. So, actually, even at 10th place gets $270. So you got a decent chance to win. And in the CHGO Survivor contest that we're doing with Splash Sports, you get a $4,500 winner-take-all prize. I love Survivor contests. They're a lot of fun. We'll be running weekly contests all year, so be sure to keep that link handy. Want to run your own contest? Tired of being the commissioner in your leagues, chasing people down with none of the reward? You can sign up to be a commissioner right through our link. Earn money for the contest you're already running with friends and family. Head to splashsports.com/CHGO to join in. We'll have different contests coming out, so we are stoked to compete with and against you all. Be sure to click our link in the description.
Cha-ching.
Ching, ching.
Get that money.
All right. Defense. Got through the offense. Let's go to the defense. We'll start with the defensive line, where we ended up keeping 9 guys here.
Big group.
And this is tough, but obviously Justin Jones, DeMarcus Walker, Andrew Billings, Dominique Robinson. Dominique Robinson is an interesting guy because he didn't really necessarily do anything for me in the preseason or training camp that blows me away, but I just still feel like they're going to keep him around. Yannick Ngakoue, Rasheem Green. We are keeping Terrell Lewis, and then, of course, Jerron Dexter and Zach Pickens are in there. I mean, really, for me, Nick, this came down to Dominique Robinson, Rasheem Green, and Terrell Lewis. And obviously Travis Gibson, too.
Prior to that, if that news had not come out about, being able to seek a trade, like I would have had Travis Gibson. I would have found a way, I think, to have him on the 53. Because I thought, like you mentioned Dominique Robinson in the preseason, Travis Gibson has had a more productive preseason. And not just looking at like sacks or things like that, but just how he's played. He's looked more efficient than Dominic Robinson.
I'm with you. And like I still go back to the answer that Ryan Poles gave us on the Hoge and Johns podcast, which we talked to him in between preseason game 1 and preseason game 2. And Gibson had that great game against the Titans.
Yeah.
And he was like, he seemed pretty happy with how Travis Gibson had turned it on. So but the one thing that, and I brought this up on the postgame show, has he had a single winning rep against a starting caliber offensive tackle? He was quiet in practice, remember?
That is true.
He was quiet in practice when he was going up against Bear starters at times. He turns it on in these games, but it's been mostly against second and third stringers.
Yeah.
So it's got to be part of your evaluation. And you look at those names, like they have to make a tough cut here.
They do.
And so if you can get anything for one of these guys, even if it's a 7th round pick, you probably go that route. But I do think it's a little bit of a shame if Travis Gibson's not on this team because of what we saw in the preseason. If I had to make a cut then between Terrell Lewis, Rasheem Green, and Dominic Robinson, I kind of lean towards Green.
And the Bears already showed their hand, like financial, like whatever the financial implications are if you cut a guy. They already cut Walker, and they've cut ties with Alex Leatherwood. Green was on a 1-year, $2.5 million contract. They already showed that it matters what you do on the field more than what your contract that you signed here to.
But I think they like Green.
They do, but I don't. Okay, again, I don't see exactly why. And he's gotten starting reps opposite when DeMarcus Walker's actually been out there, which hasn't been very much, but he has been with the first team consistently throughout training camp, the joint practices, in the game. So they do. They obviously like him, but I haven't quite seen exactly why.
This is courtesy of Courtney Cronin. Alan Williams, the Bears defensive coordinator, talked earlier today at Hallis Hall, and he was asked what they like about Rasheem Green.
Perfect.
And he said, we like that he's dependable. We like the physicality that he brings. He's not a guy that's going to talk a whole bunch, but he's going to show through his actions how he plays. He does some dirty work that we like. He sets edges. We have an adage that no edge, no chance. Don't let the ball get outside your defense. He does that. He's a physical player. The run game, we like what he brings to the table in terms of setting edges, in terms of getting off blocks, taking care of his gap to the football. Those are things people don't always see in terms of the stat sheet, but he does in a big way.
Fair.
That does not sound like a guy who's about to be cut.
It does not. Definitely doesn't. Definitely doesn't.
Now, granted, Alan Williams in a little bit of an awkward position today, having to answer. Like, he could be asked about any of these guys that could potentially be cut, and he's not going to be like, I don't like them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that was a pretty lengthy answer talking about the reasons. And usually when it comes down to a veteran who's dependable, and that's the thing, like Terrell Lewis, he's exciting, but I don't know if he does all those things that Alan Williams just said about Rasheem Green. I'm not sure Yannick Ngakoue does that.
I'm not sure, honestly. I'm not sure Rasheem Green even sets the edges as well as Alan Williams like said he does. I remember the first preseason game, like, nope, that the edge was not set there. But obviously they have a lot more, I don't know, resources to look at and things of that nature. But yeah, that, like going back to what you said, Adam, it does not sound like a guy that's about to get cut.
So we're going with 9, and we're keeping Terrell Lewis. I feel like they got to keep Terrell Lewis or Travis Gibson.
Yeah.
And I like Lewis coming in and passing downs. And
he's flashed a lot. Flashed a lot in preseason. So he's done enough, I think, throughout this summer to make this 53. Now, obviously, we have Ryan Poles' favorite guy, Travis Bell, on the practice squad.
Yeah. And then DeAnthony Jones, we also put on the practice squad. He was reportedly already cut this morning or told that he's going on waivers. So, but he flashed a bunch, too.
Yeah.
It is an intriguing player out of Houston. All right, let's go to the linebackers, and this is where we let's go back to the Doug Kramer thing, because this is where we're really struggling with Dylan Cole's health, Mikel Walker. Do we keep him? Do we not? And then Micah Baskerville, who, if there's one guy on defense that I viewed like TYSON Bagent that I'm worried about losing on waivers. Because remember, we have these conversations, they all clear waivers. But they don't always. There's always like one or two that don't. Baskerville's the guy I am worried about losing and exposing to waivers. So I wanted to find a spot for him on the 53. I'm wondering, though, that injury that Noah Sewell suffered, is he like Tevin Jenkins in danger of ending up on injured reserve for the first few weeks of the season, which means he has to be on the 53, which is why we ended up here with 7, because I think we're thinking that maybe that happens, they go down to 6. I don't know. Where did you come in on all this? Because this seemed to be where we had a little bit of a disagreement.
Yeah, so for me, like with Baskerville, I think he was a guy that, I mean, he's made a lot of plays. I just remember back in the game against the Colts, like you just see the range that he has in the middle of the field. Like he's able to get in those passing lanes and has been productive through camp. So that was a guy that showed a lot of promise. And then are the Bears really going to cut a guy like Mikel Walker, who's just had a birthday today? Are you going to pull a Green Bay Packers and
apparently the Browns did this today, though.
That's messed up.
Apparently the Browns said happy birthday this morning and then cut the guy.
I think you said it best, Adam. Like, it's an unfortunate time to have a birthday around this time if you're one of these types of players, because
it's like my wife. Her birthday is week 1 of the NFL season every year.
That is unfortunate,
and it sucks.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you're a fringe roster player who like every year has to battle for the last roster spot, and your birthday happens to be this week,
oh man,
that's tough.
That's tough to plan for your birthday and not knowing where the next birthday is going to be. So that is definitely tough. Also, too, like thinking back to the linebacker just as a whole, like the Bears love to use obviously the backup linebackers on special teams. So you have to have guys that are going to be running down their lanes, stay in their lanes, make secure tackles. So we did stack up this position. But, again, we need to see what the severity of Noah Sewell's injury is. He was in the locker room after the game, kind of hanging out. So I guess we'll get some clarification in due time with what he's kind of dealing with and how he can – or just his injury designation moving forward.
Just my own intuition on this, I would not be completely shocked if they end up cutting Dylan Cole. Or if that's an injury designation or something. We just haven't seen enough of him. And, like, they showed with the P.J. Walker thing that they're not afraid to cut a guy that just hasn't worked out, even though they just signed him. So I know they liked him for special teams, but I don't know. That's been a weird one because he just hasn't been out there a whole lot. Haven't really seen what he can do. They know more about his health than we do. Personally, with where the Bears are, I would side towards keeping Baskerville, who looks very intriguing to me, over a veteran who I know Mikel Walker had like over 100 tackles last year. He was also on waivers for a reason.
That is true, yeah.
So
I think he only played just a shy over like 20 snaps in this last preseason game, and Baskerville's in the 40s. So, I mean, you're seeing a little bit more of what he's showing out there on the field than what we've seen from Walker in a Bears uniform so far.
I like basketball. I don't want to risk losing them. So that's why we did what we did there, and it really ended up being Doug Kramer because I just felt like Kramer's going to clear waivers.
Yeah, I don't see a team like pounding their fists on the table. We need to get Doug Kramer right now.
Yeah,
I just don't see that.
So, and I know there's the injury thing maybe, but again, if the sides are in agreement, you can work it out. All right, cornerback. Not a lot of surprises here. Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson, Terrell Smith, Josh Blackwell, Jalen Jones. Of course, Blackwell would be your backup nickel, really good on special teams. Jalen Jones, he's consistently shown he's good on special teams.
It's your guy.
What's that?
You love that guy.
He's just really good on special teams.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch.
He's a good gunner. I know Richard Hightower likes him. Likes Blackwell too. You got to have those guys around. So that's, between the last linebacker and your last DB, that guy's usually just a special teamer for the most part. And in this case, that's kind of Jalen Jones for me.
New Harper has so we need 7 cornerbacks, not 6 linebackers. I know that was a little bit of our conversation about whether or not we're going to keep, again, the 7 or the 6. Like, for me, Greg, and we have Greg Stroman on our practice squad. That's a guy, too, that contributes a lot in special teams. You see him on kickoff, kick return. You also see him, obviously, playing that nickel position on defense. Thought he got screwed out of a pass interference play in Saturday's preseason game where I thought he just had sound coverage. But he was a guy that's made some plays here and there.
So, and a couple people were pointing out, 7 linebackers, only 6 corners. Again, that between those 2 positions, the last guy is a special teamer. Like, we really wouldn't define him in, is he a linebacker or is he a corner? Like, it's that guy's a special teamer, okay? And on top of that, it might start 7 linebackers on Tuesday, but Wednesday then only be 6 because someone goes on IR, you claim somebody else. I'm not saying that's going to be the final. I'm just saying that's how we are projecting it for tomorrow at 3 o'clock when this is all finalized. So, all right, and then we're wrapping up with the safeties. Eddie Jackson, Jaquan Brisker, Elijah Hicks, and A.J. Thomas, who's been pretty good and I thought slowly throughout camp just steadily earned the spot to be that last backup at the safety position. Throw Kendall Williamson, and I kind of like Braylon Trahan at times too. So we threw him out, both of those guys on the practice squad to kind of round things out. Now that's the one thing is I noticed between the 6 corners and the 4 safeties, that's only 10 DBs instead of 11. So that I could see it. Maybe they keep Williamson, too, for special teams.
Yeah, he's been someone that you've seen on the kickoff unit. He did force a fumble on Saturday's game, and somehow it magically went right back into one of the Bills' hands. But, yeah, he had a really slow, quiet start to training camp, and I think the last maybe week or 2, we've seen a little bit more of what Kendall Williamson's been capable of doing.
And then, of course, on special teams, you got your kicker, Cairo Santos, punter, Trenton Gill, long snapper, Patrick Scales. Those guys are all absolute locks, and that's your 53-man roster. By the way, Pat O'Donnell was released by the Packers.
Mega punt. No longer in Green Bay.
Backup punter. So that was just an interesting nugget. They're going with the younger guy. I forget the guy's name, but they brought in this year. And a little bit of a surprise. Their kicking game, we'll talk more about that next week, I think, when we dive into Packer Week. But that kicking game in Green Bay right now is a question mark.
Oh, I admittedly I have not paid attention to that, so I'm looking forward to diving in and seeing what has.
Well, Mason Crosby's not there anymore, and the rookie they brought in out of Auburn, I believe, has been shaky as hell.
Okay, interesting.
So it's concerning, and now they.
That's a shame.
Yeah. So if it comes down to a field goal,
kicking at Soldier Field. See.
You know what? You're probably going to need week 1, especially when you come out to our tailgate. We want to see those shady rays. It's going to be it's not going to be like last year. I don't know how I can guarantee this, but I can't. But instead of it being a monsoon, I'm just envisioning a beautiful day on the lakefront. And you're going to want your shady rays. Take on the sun with the gear built to last. Shady Rays has you covered for warm weather ahead with premium polarized shades at an affordable price. Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company offering a world-class product just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. Durable frames, extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. And that's not all, because Shady Rays offers the most insane protection of all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. So when Braggs has his Shady Rays on at the tailgate and he pulls a Buffalo Bill fan and jumps on a table and then he breaks his Shady Rays, it's okay. They'll replace him. I don't think they'll be able to
replace him.
Yeah, replace his shattered hip
body.
But the sunglasses will be good because Shady Rays will always come through. If you lose or break your pair, even on day 1, they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. And if you don't love your Shady Rays, exchange it for a new pair. Return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back. And exclusive for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com. Use code CHGO for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people.
if you thought the 1-2 punch between Fields and Moore was good, we just had Shady Rays, and now we have Foco. Like, it doesn't get any better than that, you guys. You got to get fitted out in the best sports gear around. You get hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, and literally everything in between. It's summertime, baseball season's here. You get your Aloha shirts, your straw hats, polos, bags, everything you need to be ready for a game. And, of course, we're on the set here. You see some of the set decorations. Foco has actually donated a few of the awesome pieces for our set, so go show them some love. And you can do that by going to foco.com or click the link in the description below for all non-presale items. Use the promo code CHGO for 10% off.
I think we have a few more super chats to close out the show, and then we have a new version of Bear or Not a Bear to play before we got out of here as well.
That's hilarious.
Swapnil just threw us a $1.99. Thank you, Swapnil. No question there.
Thank you, Swapnil.
Thank you.
But let's get to this Eric Forsell one. Here you go. Go for it. You can read it.
$5. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts on potential pickups on the waiver or trades that Poles can make before week 1, maybe O-line, safety, or D-line. Eric, we'll put you on hold there, okay? Because I need to see the waiver wire first but this is definitely something we're going to talk about in the next couple of days, because after these cuts are made tomorrow, we're going to see who's on the waiver wire, and the Bears do have the number 1 waiver spot for the first 3 weeks of the season. So
we'll come back to you.
I have a feeling that tomorrow night we're going to be looking at maybe an obvious candidate sitting there to pick up by Wednesday, and then with the trades, I feel like we've already sort of talked about that with Derek Barnett's name coming up, Chris Jones, some of these. I wouldn't be surprised to see a trade happen. Don't really expect
the
to be
Ravens
Chris Jones.
released DeAndre Houston Carson.
I did see that. DHC back on the market. I actually was losing my mind. Was he on the team last year or was that 2 years ago?
Yeah, he was definitely on the team last year, right? Like, it hasn't been that long.
I'm starting to lose track of time.
DHC.
When I saw he was cut, I was like, wait, was that 2 years ago or last year?
It has. Yeah, he was definitely on the team last year. Definitely. The new 36 is Kendall Williamson.
Yes, he was on the team last year. Okay, good. Keith.
Keith.
$4.99 super chat here. Poles should sign Dalton Reisner now for $7 million and need to trade for a center or find a cap casualty cut. The interior offensive line is a mess. They're not spending $7 million on Dalton Reisner. I'm telling you that right now.
No, 28 years old. Yeah, it's a veteran, but I don't think they go that route either, Adam.
I will ride with you on this, Keith. I'm a little annoyed with all the talk about center we did before the draft and the options that were out there that it still looks like a question mark going into week 1. I'm with you there.
I wonder how John Michael Schmitz is doing.
He's doing well. Brandon, $5. Love you guys, CHGO. I hate feeling like I'm an island here. Do you guys feel like JF1 and Bagent could be a Trey Lance and Purdy situation?
And he's saying, is Bagent better or equal to Purdy?
No. Not yet.
No. Hopefully never. Sorry. To be completely honest, we want QB1. Justin Fields needs to be that guy.
Guys, okay, first of all, I get the Purdy, TYSON BAGENT part of that, and that would be great. And maybe it's possible. Honestly, from what I've seen from Bagent's traits, I think he's got higher upside than Brock Purdy, to be honest with you.
Physically, I mean, more of a physical, like, quote-unquote,
arm strength.
Yeah.
Now, can he understand the system and do what Brock Purdy did last year, who clearly was a great fit there? We'll find that out. The other side of this, dude, Justin Fields is already light years ahead of Trey Lance. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, it's Trey Lance hasn't played.
And he got traded.
He got traded to a team that the owner came out and said, we don't want to play him, which is bizarre because that guy needs to play football. But Justin Fields, come on, he is already, like, who knows if he gets to the top of the top. But this guy is already put together way more of an NFL career than Trey Lance. So I don't think – I get the Bagent Purdy side of it, but not the Trey Lance, Justin Fields side.
Yeah, and just kind of looking at it from a national perspective how the league kind of views Fields. Like, you're seeing Fields in these national commercials, how he's going to turn his legs into wheels. They're not doing that for Trey Lance. He's not in there. He's not in the commercials or anything. Like, Fields is...
He's in the NFL's commercials
Yes.
promoting the season.
And I think he did a phenomenal job, too. It's like a one-liner, but go QB1.
The Mrs. Kelsey being in the commercial was the best part.
I did enjoy that.
She wants to marry Jimmy Garoppolo, she said.
I don't... Yeah, I can see why.
CBP Film, $5. Can CHGO show support? What's that?
I mean, it's a union, right? The United Auto Workers. Is that what it
Okay.
is? Showing a strike.
So I can afford to be a diehard. Is that for... Okay. Yeah, sorry, man. I'm not necessarily sure which union you're talking about there. But, sure.
Good luck.
We're with you.
Let's go.
Become a diehard. Isaac Siegel, $5. Sorry, Adam, it's random, but as a fellow Wisconsin fan, what's your level of excitement and expectations? This can wait to the end. Thanks.
This is the end.
Go Badgers. This is the end of the show. I am very excited.
Did you see the SC featured last night on Jump Around?
Oh, is it the same one they ran last year? I'm assuming.
Oh, I don't know. It's
I think it's, but it's very good. It's very good.
yeah.
It's about the history at
How it started at Wando's. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then there's like it's like Everlast pops up and I'm like, oh, I was like, oh my God, it's amazing.
yeah, that is a cool feature.
And
No, I think Luke Fickell was an amazing hire. I think what he's done in a very short time. I mean, their offense, for those of you that are used to watching grinded out Wisconsin offenses, it's going to be very different this year. Phil Longo is arguably maybe the best offensive coordinator in college football, or at least he's up there, and they're going to look completely different throwing the ball.
Must be nice. Iowa fan here. We are still stuck in the 1970s. So
Yes, that is not
Yeah,
going to be
but
the
freaking
case.
sucks.
What are your thoughts on the clock, running clock, but until it's like 2 minutes to go? Did you notice that in week 0? They're no longer stopping the clock on first downs.
Like
Oh.
until there's 2 minutes left?
I think it's until 2 minutes left. or
That's
something.
good. College football games take way too long.
Well, so it was only 7 games and one of them involved Navy, so I'm not sure what the numbers really mean, but it went from like 68.5 plays down to like 63 plays in the 7 games.
Yeah.
But it only saved, I think, 8 minutes or something like that, so we'll see.
I like it. I'm okay with it. Was that it for Super Chats?
That was it, yeah.
Okay, we got to play Bear or Not a Bear. Though.
Hilarious.
Right. Okay.
And
let's
this is a
get to that.
new version of Bear or Not a Bear. We'll give Lawrence a second here to bring that up. But if you're our longtime listeners will know that last year, especially, we were playing Bear or Not a Bear with some of these guys on the roster. Although honestly, a couple of the names that I've already seen cut,
Oh yeah, for like
I was like, who's that guy?
like he
That
was
guy
a
was
bear.
That guy was on the team.
He was a bear.
I'm not trying to be mean, but seriously, it's like okay. So we did this a lot last year when we kind of knew what the Bears were in store for last year. But Craig Ferguson, as we bring Bear or Not, is he Bear or Not a Bear on the screen? Craig Ferguson, who I didn't know that Law and I shared a love for, because I
absolutely loved the Craig Ferguson late night show.
I missed the late
So
night show.
good.
I used to record it and watch it later, but anyway, he tweeted that apparently someone posted a photo of.
He did. He's here. He's performing tomorrow in Joliet.
Oh.
And so he took a photo outside his hotel room, and then people started looking at it closer. They zoomed in on this thing that's washing windows across the way.
Yeah. I forget, did he have a bear on his show, or I remember the
No,
horse.
that's Conan. Yeah, he had a horse.
He had the horse.
And he had a skeleton, Jeff
Okay.
Peterson, a lot of other things.
So, but Craig Ferguson was basically asking, is that a bear or not a bear washing the windows on a high-rise here in Chicago?
Guys, that's a freaking bear. Like, what else? I mean, look at it.
I think it's actually Bragg's.
And he's on vacation. He's actually washing windows.
He's actually washing windows on.
What a way to spend vacation. You do you, Braggs.
Yeah. All right. Fun show today. There's your 53-man roster projection. Take it in. Get angry about it. Whatever you want to do. Just remember that
Different.
if the Super Bowl's coming down to the last guy on the roster, that's not how it works. So it's all going to be okay. And the final roster, I shouldn't say, the initial official 53-man roster will be in at 3 o'clock tomorrow, which is when we are going to do our show tomorrow. So we will not be on at noon. Nick and I are going to wait till the cuts are officially made. We'll know what that initial roster is, and then we'll react to it live right at 3 o'clock tomorrow. So make sure you join us then. Also want to make sure you know that we have a great sale going on right now in the CHGO locker. Our countdown to kickoff sale. All T-shirts and hats are $24 right now. All the great merch. Nick and I are wearing a couple of the shirts today ourselves. $24 right now in the CHGO locker. So go to chgolocker.com, get the merchandise. And again, if you're a diehard, you get 20% off on top of that. So
deals on deals.
Paying for itself. You add that into all the tailgates we're about to have and your discounted tickets there. You want to be a CHGO diehard. We got to get a happy hour in the books. Maybe a week 1 happy hour coming next week.
I like that idea. It's been a while.
Don't quote me, but we need to do that. I think that'd be a great way to start the season. All right. Follow us on Twitter. He's at Nicholas Moreano. I'm at Adam Hoge. Lawrence at Law on the Draw.
Yep.
At CHGO_Bears. At CHGO_Sports. That's a good spot to pay attention to everything going on with the top 25 Chicago athletes of all time countdown that we're doing. Again, Richard Dent, Dan Hampton making the list today. And there'll be more as we continue on this week. That's going to do it for us today. We will be back tomorrow, 3 o'clock, with that 53-man roster reaction show. We'll talk to you then.